Ladies and gentlemen, it's not the economy, it's not your boss, it's not the government, your family, your past, or even your current struggles. The real key to a better future is you. That's the truth many avoid facing. People spend years blaming circumstances, making excuses, staying distracted, or justifying their lack of progress because it's easier to claim life is unfair than to admit they've neglected their own potential. But here's the hard truth. You are the difference. You're the missing piece. You're the one who can unlock the next level, not when everything around you changes, but when you decide to stop living on autopilot. The life you're dreaming of isn't waiting on luck or miracles. It's waiting on you. Not a changed world, but a changed version of yourself. Not a flawless opportunity, but a firm decision. Not a magical fix, but consistent inner transformation. Most people don't realize life acts like a mirror. It reflects your values, your routines, your beliefs, and your standards. And if you want that reflection to change, you don't argue with the mirror, you change yourself. Because your better future isn't somewhere far away, it's already within you. Untapped, undisciplined, and unexpressed. It's in the book you haven't finished, the phone call you avoid, the plan you continue to delay, habits you rewrite but never follow through on. You keep saying you'll start someday, but someday is a lie. It's the language of those who stay stuck, and the longer you speak it, the longer your future remains a fantasy. Here's what most people won't tell you. When you're stuck, no one's coming to save you. No mentor, no course, no secret will replace what discipline delivers. No shortcut replaces self-respect. No breakthrough happens without first breaking current patterns. You have to rise, not because the world demands it, but because your future needs it. You're not here to repeat yesterday. You're here to rewrite it with more strength and greater clarity. But nothing shifts until you do. Your income grows with your development. Your peace grows with your perspective. Your chances grow with your effort, and your influence grows with your integrity. That's how it works. The system doesn't respond to emotions. It responds to who you become. You can pray, visualize, hope, cry, but until you act with discipline, focus, and commitment, nothing truly moves. Your life is waiting for a signal. That signal is you, waking up with purpose, raising your standards, showing up when it's difficult, doing the work even when no one's watching, choosing not to be casual with your time, your energy, your potential, because casualness creates, but responsibility, that builds strength. When you finally say, it's on me, that's not weakness, that's not pressure, that's freedom. Because now you're not waiting for someone else to change your life. You're not in the passenger seat anymore, you're in control. And yes, it's heavier, but it's better. Because now you're free. Free to rise, free to rebuild, and free to break the cycle that others before you couldn't. Free to become what your former self never imagined possible. But that freedom comes at a cost, one most people won't pay: ownership. It means no more blaming others. It means facing the mirror, not pointing fingers. It means stopping the rewrite of your past and starting the rewiring of your present. Because your habits are simply your future in disguise. What you do every day is shaping the next 5 years, not your hopes, not your words, your actions. Each decision is a vote for who you're becoming, skip the workout, vote cast, hit snooze again, vote cast, for staying the same, the wake up with purpose, vote cast, take action with intention, another vote for growth. These votes add up, not in some instant dramatic change, but through slow, steady, lasting progress. Until one day, you look up and realize the future you once wished for has become your reality. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And that's the truth. The key to your better future isn't out there. It's not a secret map you haven't found, not a connection you haven't made, not some luck you're still waiting on. It's you with higher standards, relentless consistency of focused vision, and unshakable follow-through. It's you with a mindset that refuses to wait for perfect conditions. You choosing growth over guilt, responsibility over excuses, strength over surrender. Because in this life, the world doesn't give you freedom. It gives you choices. And real freedom, that's earned. It's built by mastering yourself, your time, your thoughts, your habits, your emotions, and your potential. That's the difference between an average life and an unstoppable one. Average people wait for things to get better. Unstoppable people become the change. Average people wish, unstoppable people work. Average people seek approval. Unstoppable people pursue alignment. And it all starts with one choice, the one you'll need to make again and again. I am the key. Not them, not later, not something else, me right now. Because the future doesn't belong to the lucky, it belongs to those who take full responsibility. And once you do that, once you fully own where you are, you unlock the power to change where you're going. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's a gift. It means no more waiting, no more hoping, no more negotiating with luck or timing. It means you now hold the most important truth in personal development. If it's going to happen, it's up to me. You become the architect of your days, the engineer of your mindset, the protector of your focus, and the builder of your future. Not because you're different, but because you're willing. Willing to live with discipline, not distraction. Willing to train your thinking instead of numbing it. Willing to say no to comfort so you can say yes to greatness. That's the trade the world rarely talks about, but every winner understands. You can't choose both comfort and greatness. You can sleep now or earn respect later. You can feel good now or feel proud later. You can scroll endlessly or you can study, create, train, and rise. The future isn't a fantasy, it's a formula. Effort multiplied by time and discipline equals destiny. But most want the destiny without the discipline, the reward without the sacrifice, the success without the sweat, the change without the reps it truly takes. But you're not most people. You've already shown that. Just by staying with this message, by leaning in, by saying yes to owning it all, because that's what this is, not hype, truth. This isn't about temporary motivation. It's a call to mastery, a shift in how you think, how you act, and ultimately how you live. And it all begins with one critical realization, how you see yourself. You are not a victim. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are in the process of becoming. You are actively building. You're stepping into control, not over the world, but over the only thing that truly matters, you. Because the greatest power anyone can develop isn't control over others, it's control over themselves. It's the ability to push past emotion, the strength to stand up when your mind says stay down, the discipline to walk with intent when everything around you feels like chaos. That kind of power doesn't come from hoping, it comes from daily conflict, the constant war between who you were and who you're working to become, the battle between your comfort-seeking past and your disciplined future self. And every day you choose the outcome. You shape your future not by what you wish for, but by what you're willing to act on, what you're ready to let go of, what you're prepared to endure, what you stand for when no one else understands. That's the separation point between those who speak about change and those who live it. It's not about being talented or having the right timing. It's about resolve. It's about waking up and choosing not to repeat yesterday, refusing to leave this world with your potential still untouched. That mindset builds legacies, not from luck, but from ownership. Because the key to your future has always been in your hands. You didn't wait, you refined it, you strengthened it, and then you used it quietly, deliberately, without needing attention, only proof. And when others ask what changed, the truth is simple. Nothing changed until you did. Because the key was never in the clouds, or hidden in a book, or written in the stars. It was always in the mirror. And the day you own that is the day you stop waiting and start winning. Winning doesn't begin when conditions are perfect. It begins the moment you decide you're ready. Not because you feel invincible, not because the path is clear, not because the world gave you a sign, but because you finally trust yourself enough to begin anyway. That's what sets the few apart. Most wait for clarity, the few create it. Most wait for motivation, the few build momentum. Most want guarantees, the few get to work. They understand something essential, something most never grasp. Success isn't just a result. It's an identity. You don't just achieve it, you become it. And you do that through the small, daily choices others overlook. The decision to wake up early when it's uncomfortable. The discipline to say no when temptation calls. The effort to finish strong when no one's watching. The commitment to stay the course when progress feels invisible. Because in those quiet, ordinary moments, your future is being shaped, not by a sudden breakthrough, but by the alignment between your actions and your values. That's how transformation happens. That's how the new you emerges. That's how your better future is built. You don't need big flashy breakthroughs. You need follow through. You don't have to impress anyone. You just have to be intentional. And when your intentions turn into habits, and those habits shape your identity, everything begins to change, not because you finally gained power, but because you became powerful. And true power doesn't need to be loud. It walks with clarity. It moves with quiet confidence. Power doesn't shout. Power walks in peace. It doesn't need to force anything because it knows who it is. That's where you're headed. A version of you that no longer needs to prove anything because you're living in proof. A version of you that no longer prays for shortcuts because you respect the process. A version of you that wakes up and walks into every room carrying the quiet authority of someone who owns their life. You don't need more luck. You need more alignment. You don't need to be discovered. You need to be dependable. Because talent might open the door, but character keeps you in the room. And character, it's built in the shadows. It's built when no one's clapping, when the lights are off, when you're tired, sore, unseen, and still you show up. And why? Because your future deserves it. Because your name matters. Because your legacy is being written not someday, but right now. In the moments when it's easier to quit. In the moments when excuses feel reasonable and discipline feels insane. But you keep going. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. Not because it's painless, but because it's powerful. Not because you feel ready, but because you finally accepted the truth. The major key to your better future has always been you. Not them, not if only, not someday. You, today, willing to pay the price, willing to rise again, willing to stop hiding behind potential and start living with purpose. So step forward, own it, embody it, and never forget, this is your life. This is your shot. This is your moment. The mirror has always held the answer. So look into it and become it. Because the world doesn't rise for titles. It rises for thinkers. Not just those with ambition, but those with economic philosophy. People who don't just earn money, they command economies. People who think like leaders, move like creators, and build like architects of destiny. This is not about managing money. This is about commanding it. Not about saving scraps. It's about structuring a life that generates wealth on autopilot. Not by chance, but by design. Because the true economy doesn't start in the stock market. It starts in your mind. If your thoughts are poor, your results will be bankrupt. If your vision is small, your impact will shrink. If your identity is weak, your wealth will leak. An economic leader doesn't ask, how do I make money? They ask, how do I become the kind of person who creates value at scale consistently with precision? It starts with mindset, but not the watered down version found on posters. The mindset of an economic leader is ruthless, deliberate, strategic. They don't waste thought on what doesn't matter. They don't drown in opinion. They live by principle. They think in systems, not emotions, in assets, not hours, in impact, not applause. They don't chase shiny, they build solid. Because they know wealth isn't about what you earn, it's about what you own, what you control, and what grows while you sleep. So the first shift is this. Stop thinking like a worker, start thinking like a wealth architect. A worker asks, what do I get paid to do? A leader asks, how can I multiply value through systems that scale? And that means you stop trading time for money and start building assets. Your knowledge becomes a product, your skills become leverage, your wisdom becomes a machine. Because an economic leader doesn't work for money, they make money work for them. They know every dollar is a soldier. And every soldier needs a mission, not just to pay bills, but to build freedom. That means clarity of mission, clarity of target, clarity of leverage. Because if you don't know what your wealth is for, you'll waste it chasing the approval of people who don't even respect themselves. You need vision, not for luxury, but for liberation. Economic leadership means owning your life so deeply that no politician, no economy, no client, no company can shake your foundation. It means building from within, creating value on demand, thinking 5 moves ahead while everyone else is still reacting to the last one. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's silent dominance. The discipline to delay gratification. That means you stop trading time and start building assets. Your knowledge becomes a product. Your skills become leverage. Your wisdom becomes a machine. Because an economic leader doesn't work for money, they make money work for them. They know every dollar is a soldier, and every soldier needs a mission, not just to pay bills, but to build freedom. That means clarity of mission, clarity of target, clarity of leverage. Because if you don't know what your wealth is for, you'll waste it chasing the approval of people who don't even respect themselves. You need vision, not for luxury, but for liberation. Economic leadership means owning your life so deeply that no politician, no economy, no client, no company can shake your foundation. It means building from within, creating value on demand, thinking 5 moves ahead while everyone else is still reacting to the last one. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's silent dominance. The discipline to delay gratification, the wisdom to reinvest, the humility to learn, the obsession to build. You want to rise? Then study how the wealthy think. Not what they wear, not what they drive, what they believe. They believe in compound growth. They believe in scalable systems. They believe in partnerships, not dependencies. They believe in becoming so good at solving problems that the world has no choice but to pay them. And more than anything, they believe this: I am the economy. I am the brand. I am the value. I am the source, not the seeker. And when that belief settles deep into your bones, wealth stops being a chase, it becomes your shadow. So let's go deeper into the layers of thought most people never touch. Because this is where money stops being a goal and starts becoming a mirror of your mind, a reflection of your discipline, a consequence of who you've become. The economic leader doesn't get rich by mistake. They engineer prosperity. They don't stumble into success. They strategize expansion. And at the core of that strategy is one thing: vision. Not vague dreams, not I want success. Real, detailed, vivid vision. So sharp it feels like memory. They see it, they feel it, they build from it. And every decision runs through one filter. Does this align with where I'm going? If not, it's gone, no matter how easy, tempting, or profitable it looks. Because they're not seduced by short-term dopamine. They're fueled by long-term dominion. They understand the price of distraction. They guard focus like a treasure, because every yes costs something. Every detour is a debt. And clarity is compound leverage. So they protect it relentlessly. And from that clarity, they move with discipline. Because clarity without consistency, that's just a fantasy. They live in formulas. They don't just grind, they build systems. Discipline routines, daily essentials, focus rituals, and firm boundaries that guard their energy. Their actions aren't driven by mood, they move with purpose. Because they understand how you handle the small things shapes how you handle everything. The way you design your day is how you construct your legacy. Show me someone's morning, and I'll show you their financial trajectory. Discipline isn't about pain, it's about power. It's the ability to say no now so you never have to say please later. And from that discipline comes the most critical force of all: ownership. A true economic leader takes full responsibility for every outcome, every delay, every mistake, and every win. There's no blame, no waiting, no passing the buck. When you own everything, you gain the power to change anything. They stop saying the market is tough and start asking, how can I adapt faster? They no longer say no one's helping me, but instead ask, how can I become so essential that no one can overlook me? That mindset, radical internal responsibility, is what transforms average income into generational wealth. It's not about appearing rich. It's about building a life that funds lasting freedom. And freedom isn't just about money. It's about mental liberation. The ability to think clearly, act independently, choose your path, and shape your future. That's the true meaning of economic leadership. Not money, mastery. So let's rise to the level where real wealth lives, the level few reach, not because they're incapable, but because they refuse to think with this much clarity, depth, and responsibility. The final layer of an economic leader's mindset is leverage, not just financial leverage, life leverage. Because they know wealth isn't created by doing more, it's created by multiplying impact, doing the right things with the right systems alongside the right people at scale. They ask, what am I doing that someone else could take over? What process or system can replace me here? How can I use people, tools, and resources to expand what only I can uniquely offer? Most people spend their lives staying busy. The economic leader They work to become replaceable, because only when your time is no longer the limit can you begin building true freedom. They build teams, they automate value, they create systems that run without their constant input, because wealth doesn't come from working the hardest. It comes from building something that works without you. They stop asking, what does this cost? And start asking, what return will this bring over the next 10 years? And they build with that scale in mind, not for speed, but for sustainability, which leads us to the foundation of it all, value. If you want to build real wealth, stop chasing money. Start becoming the kind of person the world rewards. Someone who solves problems, bridges gaps, and creates lasting value, because money always follows value. No exceptions, no shortcuts. And value isn't about talent, it's about relevance, offering real solutions to real problems for real people. The economic leader isn't flashy, they're effective, not because they're louder, but because they serve more deeply. When you stack enough value, enough solutions, enough consistency, and enough integrity, wealth isn't something you force. It becomes something you attract, not through luck, but through alignment. And here lies the final truth. The one principle behind every high-level thinker, every builder of wealth, every true economic leader: you are the asset. You are the brand. You are the engine. You are the source of opportunity, income, and transformation. And your highest return will never come from an external investment. It will come from what you invest in yourself. So study deeper, think clearer, move with precision, decide with confidence, guard your time relentlessly, and protect your energy like it's your greatest asset. Lead your life like an enterprise in motion, because when you think like a leader, the world starts responding to you as one. You're not chasing wealth, you're becoming it. So rise and move like you were meant to build legacies. Speak as if your words finance futures. Think as though every idea you plant could shape generations you'll never meet. Because this isn't only about income, it's about influence, it's about impact that outlives you. You're not just here to get by. You're here to lead the economy of your own life. And in doing so, you unlock a legacy that no market can ever measure. Everything in your life, your current reality, your resources, your results, is shaped by one hidden force that most never examine. Not your background, not your luck, not your environment, but your philosophy. That's right, your personal philosophy, the mental framework through which you interpret yourself, the world, and every opportunity or challenge. It's the silent architect of your future, not your job title, not your partner, not even your education or goals. Because goals without philosophy are like a ship without navigation. Ambition without wisdom is like a bullet train with no brakes. Motion without purpose is just noise. You want change? Don't just adjust your habits. Don't just shift your circle. Don't just organize your schedule. Transform your thinking, your foundational beliefs, your guiding standards, your core assumptions about how life works and how you respond to it. Because every choice you make, whether small or significant, is filtered through that philosophy. And if that filter is unclear, distorted, or built on excuses, your future won't be shaped by effort, but by misdirection. You don't rise to the level of your hustle. You rise or fall to the level of your understanding. And your understanding is built on beliefs you've either created or inherited. So ask yourself honestly, who designed the blueprint you're living by? Was it crafted by thinkers, builders, truth seekers, or borrowed from complainers, avoiders, and those addicted to comfort? Because here's the reality. If life is a reflection, then your philosophy is the mirror. If your finances are unstable, your beliefs about money need reworking. If your relationships lack depth, your views on connection are reactive, not intentional. If your energy is drained, your philosophy around health and discipline is weak. But once you shift how you see things, everything else begins to shift too. That's where real power begins, because philosophy is an abstract theory. It's your operating system. And if your system runs on "it's too hard, it's not my fault," or "success is for other people," then you're operating with outdated software for the life you claim to want. But when you upgrade, truly upgrade, to a mindset built on ownership, clarity, growth, and truth, everything changes. You stop reacting, you start responding. You stop waiting, you start moving. You stop blaming, you start building. Because now you're guided by principle, not pressure. And principle always outlasts pressure. Here's the truth. Most people don't fail because they're unwilling to work. They fail because they never trained their minds to think clearly. They never did the deep, honest work of asking themselves, what do I truly believe about success, about adversity, about myself? And those unspoken, untested beliefs quietly run the show. They believe success is random, so they hesitate. They believe money is corrupt, so they self-sabotage. They think discipline is unnatural, so they justify inconsistency. Then they wonder why progress doesn't come. But the solution isn't in changing the world, it's in changing your inner world. Because the world, it remains neutral. Opportunities don't discriminate, but philosophies do. If you believe the game is rigged, you won't give your full effort. If you think people are out to get you, you'll never trust long enough to build meaningful relationships. If you assume effort doesn't make a difference, you'll quit right before the breakthrough. But if you believe growth attracts progress, if you believe value generates wealth, if you believe character outlasts trends, and if you believe your habits shape your future, then the world starts aligning with you. Not because the rules changed, but because you did. You change your perspective, you change your philosophy. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. That's the real work. And it's the only work that matters in the long run. It starts with a simple, honest question. What beliefs am I choosing to live by? Not the ones handed down by fearful people, not the ones shaped by culture or adopted in moments of fear, but the beliefs you've tested, the ones that stand firm under pressure, the ones that strengthen your character and keep you aligned, even when everything else feels unstable. Here's the truth. You will never outperform your philosophy. If you believe you're unworthy, you'll sabotage every good thing in your life. If you think success requires betrayal, you'll never fully trust yourself to win. If you believe other people have the power, you'll never claim your own. But if you flip that belief system, if you believe excellence is a choice, you'll pursue it. If you believe challenges are teachers, you'll embrace them. If you believe character matters more than image, you'll become unstoppable. This is the real challenge. Don't just upgrade your resume. Upgrade your beliefs. Upgrade the principles you live by. Upgrade the questions you ask yourself every day. Upgrade the philosophy that drives your actions, choices, and direction in life. Because when your philosophy becomes solid, when it's clear, consistent, and grounded in truth, your external world starts to reflect it. Not instantly, but inevitably, because the outside always catches up to the inside. And when your internal world becomes unshakable, the results become undeniable. When you rebuild your foundation, not just your routines or goals or image, but the philosophy you live by, you stop chasing results, you begin attracting them. You stop hoping for breakthroughs. You become one. A person with a strong personal philosophy doesn't get thrown off by what's happening around them. They move with clarity from within. They don't crumble under pressure. They remain grounded. They don't seek constant applause. They act with purpose. They're not addicted to quick wins. They are committed to lasting growth. That kind of person is magnetic. They walk with presence. They speak with confidence. They listen with intent. They act with precision. And most of all, they radiate peace. Not because life is easy, but because they've refined how they see it. That's the magic of philosophy. It's not about blind optimism or nonstop hustle. It's about living from truths that are forged through awareness, personal responsibility, and earned wisdom. If you want to build lasting wealth, your philosophy around value, time, discipline, and patience must be solid. If you want deep, meaningful relationships, your beliefs about trust, communication, and emotional maturity must be intentional. If you want real influence, your principles around integrity, humility, and consistency must be non-negotiable. Everything rests on this, because in the end, it's not what happens to you that shapes your future. It's not the occasional action or one-time effort. It's how you think consistently, daily, deeply, builds the life you ultimately live. It's the values you return to when you're tired. It's the beliefs you live by when no one's watching. It's the mental frameworks you carry into every room, every call, every conversation. That's where the real battle's fought. And most people lose that battle because they never realized it was happening. They try to change their income without changing their thinking. They try to attract better people without becoming a better person. They try to find peace while believing chaos is inevitable. They try to win the war on the outside with a philosophy that guarantees defeat on the inside. But not you. You're here for something deeper. You're here to become dangerously aware. Aware of what you believe, aware of what drives you, aware of the assumptions you've accepted without question, aware of what needs to be upgraded, not in the world, but in you. Because here's what the great ones know. If your philosophy is right, the path will reveal itself. If your philosophy is strong, the storms will shape you, not destroy you. If your philosophy is true, your results will take care of themselves. So stop treating philosophy like it's a luxury for thinkers. It's a requirement for building. You don't build empires from emotion, you build them from principle, from internal laws that don't change when your mood does, from truths that anchor you when the world feels uncertain, from beliefs that are stronger than temptation. Truth, like discipline, beats motivation. Responsibility is freedom. Growth matters more than comfort, and purpose will always overpower pressure. These aren't just motivational quotes, they're codes, and if you adopt them, if you own them, you'll never need to chase alignment again. You will be alignment. Your actions will flow. Your energy will focus. Your direction will clarify. And your life will begin working not by luck, but by law, the law of cause and effect. The cause, a personal philosophy rooted in truth. The effect, a life that reflects who you became. Because in the end, your life doesn't respond to what you hope for. It responds to who you are. And who you are is shaped completely by what you believe. So get clear, get ruthless, get intentional. Audit your beliefs like your future depends on it, because it does. Ask yourself, where did this idea come from? Is it true or just popular? Does it make me stronger or weaker? Does it lead to freedom or fear? Is it based in truth or based in comfort? And when you find a broken belief in your system, don't replace it with something trendy. Don't patch it with something that sounds good on social media. Replace it with something true. Something that works. Because the proof of a philosophy is not how it sounds in theory, it's what it produces in reality. If your philosophy doesn't generate strength, clarity, peace, discipline, and purpose, then it's not true enough, it's not strong enough, it's not yours yet. So make it yours, write it, refine it, live it. Then watch how your life begins to align around it like gravity, not because life got easier, but because you got wiser, because you stopped floating with trends and started building on truth. And now life bends toward you, not because of magic or chance or the universe doing you a favor, but because of alignment. Alignment is the result of a human being who finally said, I will no longer live by accident. I will live by design. And design is rooted in philosophy. Not just what you believe on your good days, but what you stand on when everything shakes. Not just what sounds good in theory, but what survives the weight of your reality. Because here's the truth. Real life doesn't care what you say you believe. It only responds to what you live. It only responds to what you actually do. If your philosophy says, I value health, but your actions say comfort food and skipped workouts, then health isn't part of your philosophy. It's part of your fantasy. If your philosophy claims, I believe in growth, but your life is built around avoiding challenge, then growth isn't your truth, it's your costume. And the world sees through it. But when your philosophy becomes embodied, when your beliefs become habits, when your convictions become discipline, when your standards become automatic, you stop needing motivation altogether. Because now you are the motivation. You are the standard. You walk into a room and people feel it, not because you're loud, but because you're centered. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you've built something inside that can't be shaken by anyone. That's the power of philosophy lived out. It's quiet, it's steady, it's relentless, and it multiplies. Your clarity gives others permission to clear their own fog. Your discipline reminds others of their potential. Your truth, spoken not just in words, but in the way you live, becomes a torch that lights up every space you enter. You're not trying to be inspiring. You're simply aligned. And alignment is magnetic. That's what the world is starving for. Not more information, not more hype, but more embodied wisdom. More people whose lives match their mouths. More people who mean what they say and live what they believe. More people who have a clear why, a grounded how, and an unshakable what for. Because when you know your what for, your mission, your purpose, your core, then no circumstance, no betrayal, no detour can take you off the path for long. You might fall, but you return to truth faster. You might face resistance, but you walk through it taller because your foundation is internal. Your philosophy leads the way. And when philosophy leads, fear follows behind, not because fear disappears, but because it doesn't get to drive anymore. Your faith does, your conviction does, your clarity does. And you become the rarest kind of human, the kind who knows exactly who they are and lives it relentlessly, unapologetically, and quietly powerful. That's the new standard. That's the kind of person who wins not just at work or money or influence, but at life, wins peace, wins respect, wins self-trust, wins alignment between what they do, what they believe, and who they're becoming. And if you've listened this far, you already know this isn't about tips and tricks. This isn't about hacks. This isn't about looking successful. It's about being someone no obstacle can bend, no lie can weaken, no distraction can buy. Because your mind is yours now. Your soul is anchored, and your path, no matter how unpredictable, is yours to walk, and that is power. Power most people will never know because they're still begging for someone to hand it to them. But you built it. You rewrote the code. You redesigned the map. You chose truth over trends. You chose principles over popularity. You chose wisdom over comfort. You stopped letting the world shape your philosophy and started shaping your world through it. And now your life is starting to mirror it. Your outcomes are starting to align, not because you forced anything, but because you finally understood the truth. Your personal philosophy, not your environment, not your talent, not your status, is the major factor in how your life turns out. So protect it, refine it, build it like your future depends on it, because it does. And never forget this: the world will reflect your philosophy long after it forgets your name. But you will remember because you lived it. And that is the legacy